Continue with security matters, as the presidency has dismissed claims that insecurity in Nigeria is driven by religious targeting, insisting that the violence affects people of all faiths and should not be described as a religious war. The senior special assistant to the president on Chieftaincy Matters, Abba Tijjani Hashim, made this known during a meeting with the Methodist Archbishop of Anambra, Most Reverend Vincent Onoh. The engagement is part of ongoing engagements between the federal government and religious leaders aimed at promoting peace and national unity. Hashim warned that portraying Nigeria's security challenges as a genocide or faith-based violence could deepen divisions and weaken national cohesion. Let's have more details and more analysis on this and that. To do that, we're joined by former national coordinator of the Middle Belt Patriots, and that's Zariyi Yusuf. Mr. Yusuf, it's good to have you on the news, and a very good evening to you. Let's just get right into it. From a conflict analysis standpoint, what empirical evidence supports or contradicts the presidency's position that Nigeria's insurgency is not religiously motivated?
The only thing that supports that position is the fact that the federal government of Nigeria is doing everything possible to cover up a genocide. That basically is the only reason why anybody would say the killings are not religiously motivated. If you want to understand or you want to define an issue, you go to the roots. In other words, who are the people killing? Because I think the point the federal government is making is it is not just Christians that get killed. Well, let's take a step back and say, all right, Christians, you're not the only ones getting killed. So who's doing the killing? Whether it's Buddhists that are being killed, whether it's atheists that are being killed, whether it's whoever gets killed, who does the killing? They are Islamist groups with the sole purpose of establishing a caliphate, beginning with Boko Haram that made its point clear, and then all of the groups that have been emerging. You've got the ones allegiant to ISIS, you've got Lakurawa, Mahmuda, all of them, they are primarily Islamist group, and their sole aim is to fully implement Sharia, to have an Islamic state. When you say it is not only Christians that get killed, the Christians have never come out to say to you it is not only us, it is only the Christians that get killed. What we are simply saying is the primary target of the Islamists is to annihilate the Christian population in Nigeria, which they have been doing for almost 2 decades in Nigeria's Middle Belt. Of course, they would have a problem with any Muslim who does not subscribe to their ideology. So the only thing that would support anybody's claim, and I must actually wonder what an advisor in matters of whether it's chieftaincy or local government is doing, trying to convince a priest that the massacre of Christians in Nigeria is not religiously motivated. Who shouts Allahu Akbar before he does it? Who implements? What are they implementing when they kill people? It's a certain practice of Sharia law, the full implementation of it. And any Muslim who does not subscribe to that, the reason they kill him is because they also classify him as an infidel, the very way they classify the Christians. So it has been targeted right from the onset. The pattern of it in southern Kaduna, on the plateau, in Benue, and different parts of Nigeria happens. I mean, even the festive season attacks, such that have been happening in Gombe, where people just ran into people and killed them and claimed it was an accident. We have seen such terrorist attacks that are faith-based. So it's unfortunate, basically, to have, it's not actually strange, because it looks as if to the federal government, the primary aim is there is insecurity, hundreds of people get killed, Islamists get proliferated, they get more arms, they increase in number, they keep doing things, and the federal government believes the only way to fight it is to get to convince everybody that it is not only Christians that are getting killed.
Right.
What a deranged state. That's quite unfortunate.
Yusuf, let me ask you a question, and hopefully you would bear with me on this one, right? So how then do you distinguish between, religious ideology as a mobilization tool and religion itself as a primary driver of insurgency in Nigeria's security landscape? Would you say that we are not addressing the root cause, or are we glossing things over for investors' sake and for the image of Nigeria at the global stage?
You see, whether we accept it or not, key players in this regime, or maybe the APC, I'd say, have proven to be sympathetic to the cause of these Islamists. A typical example is, save for the fact that there are sympathizers in the government, people like Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi should not be working freely. You've got Islamists raping women, killing people, sacking communities, attacking the Nigerian Defense Academy, demonstrating capabilities to shoot down airplanes, doing all kinds of stuff. And he comes out a lot of times with the police, orderly behind him, advocating the welfare of these killers. And the fact that he gets away with it freely tells you something is wrong. So on one end, it wants to look as if, unfortunately, those who don't have a depth with regards to what's happening, look as if, no, we need to save the image of the country. So let's not let people think all of this evil are thriving because we need to protect our image, we need to get investors. But that is the cover under which the Islamists that have happened to infiltrate the government are trying to silence the genocide. It's a silent genocide. It's been happening. It just did not start 3 years ago. It's been on for almost 2 decades. Now, the lines between what's happening as a certain kind of ideology in a particular religion and the religion itself is getting more and more blurry, especially with an example. A typical example is Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi is an Islamic cleric, revered in the northern part of the country. But when he speaks, 99.9% of his position is pro-terrorist. He speaks on their behalf. He threatens the government that if they go aggressive against them, the escalation will heighten. As a matter of fact, he subtly threatened Christians that should the Americans begin to take out terrorists, they will take it out on Christians. I think he has done that. He tried to put it subtly, but we read clearly between the lines. So it makes it difficult to separate a whole lot. An example is saying we will eliminate terrorists. Some people went out in Kano and they were protesting against it. Why are you protesting? On what grounds are you protesting? It will simply be on the ground that the people you are trying to kill are people with whom we share similar ethnicity and similar religion, and more dangerously and likely similar ideology. Okay?
Yeah.
So that basically is where we are.
But what about socio-economic factors such as, poverty, unemployment, as well as weak governance? Don't they outweigh religious identity in the case of fueling insurgent recruitment?
They do not.
Well, how so?
When
How do you
Boko
mean?
Haram emerged,
When
Boko Haram emerged,
right, but they're in underserved regions, and we know that the poverty line, especially in the north, is still below average. And we also do know there's a matter of out-of-school children, and unskilled workers. So can poverty, unemployment, and weak governance be a case here in terms of recruitment?
in the northern part of the country, there are different parts of the north in the country. There are different parts of the country. And illiteracy, poverty, economic hardship is not a sole reserve of the north. So every part of the country you go to will definitely have, to a large extent, a recruitment pool for terrorists. But the question is, why is it only restricted to one part of the country and one particular religion? An example is, why do you have to beg on the streets? Is it because the people that are not begging in the southern part of the country or in the western part of the country are faring actually better? It's not it. If you choose to make a thing a culture, it becomes one. If you do not want people to go to school, they will not go to school. If you've got Islamic clerics who tell them it is haram to go to school, it is not only the ones carrying arms that tell people Western education is haram. There are many others who do it. It's just that they don't have arms and they haven't gone violent yet. When Boko Haram emerged, they were making their point clear that they wanted to Islamize the country. They wanted to establish an Islamic state. But then you had politicians from the northern part of the country lying every day that it was economic hardship. An Islamist group is telling you what its mission is, and you are telling people it's economic hardship. Basically, I wouldn't say it, but should I tell you how much I earn at the end of every month, you are likely not going to believe it. You are likely not going to believe many people you see who just lead normal lives, but hardly can have access to 2 square meals. You find people who can't get married and have to postpone it for 6 months or 1 year because they can't afford it. You have children who, for possibly 2 or 3 sessions, have not gone to school. So it is everywhere in the country. It is not restricted to a particular part of the country. Right. I will not dismiss the idea that economic hardship could actually create a scenario where social vices could thrive.
Right.
But I will not place it as one of the reasons why an ideology-driven massacre is basically thriving in the country. It's not economics. It is a religious ideology, and the primary targets are Christians.
Right.
That's basically the point.
Zariyi, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Also, I would need you to pay your tax to me as well, also your first fruits to me as well, because you said that I would not be able to believe the amount of money you earn, and I do believe you're a big man.
Yeah, because of how small it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, just send me the tax. Thank you. Yeah, you need to pay to the nation of Judith Atibi. You know what I mean? But anyway, thank you. I must say thank you for taking our time to join us. Zariyi Yusuf there, security analyst, just giving us insight.